because I was just playing around and not taking anything too seriously and just like, wow, have you seen this shade of pink? I need to paint an entire canvas in this shade of pink. And then I had another shade of pink that was also amazing. I was just gone in my own world.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to everyone in this new episode of Harmony Helpers. Helpers for our day to day life that come in different forms or colors. So today I am with artist Carolin Kölsch, and we want to speak about your art and art in general. So, what is the magic, you could say, of art for us as human beings in our striving for harmony? Welcome, Caroline, and maybe you want to share something about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Marlene. It's so good to see you again. Um, the magic of art, for me personally, I think it can be something different for everyone, but for me, it's that through painting, I really have developed a process of, yeah, working through my emotions and through my experiences, especially if they are tough ones and things that I could not express in words. But then when I get to the studio and to the canvas, I can switch off my mind and let it flow through me and see what happens in the process. And the process sometimes it's also rough. There are some paintings where I even cried a lot and had to stop because I was overwhelmed by what was coming through. But that's also how we process emotions in general, right? So I think yeah, the expression that it provides for things that don't feel safe to say in another way is my favorite part about it.
Wow,
Mm.
yes, I can relate. Would you say that it needs something in order to paint, or you as an artist? I mean, you are a professional expressing your feelings, your emotions in that way. Is that something accessible for everyone? Or would you say it needs a certain skill set to do so?
Absolutely not. It's accessible for everyone. And I love this question, by the way, because in the past, I also did lots of painting classes, and people were coming to my classes and telling me, I don't know how to paint, but can I join anyway? And I was always like, yeah, good for you that you don't know how to paint, because then you can actually create art if you don't know the skills. And by the way, at school, I have been told that I am not creative all the time. So um, it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, wow.
If And if you or if someone has the urge to create, then please go for it and don't have any expectations for the outcome, because that's also something I used to preach, um, that the outcome is secondary. Like what you see on the canvas in the end is secondary, but um, primary primarily um, it's important that you are present in the process and that you are connected with your intuition and with what moves you, and allow the colors to choose you instead of you trying to wrap your mind about what color would be the best. Just, yeah, I think it's best when you just have the entire palette in front of you and you can just naturally move to the one that speaks to you in this moment. And that's basically how I create my paintings, like the one here in the background that you see. I have quite a few paintings in that style, and my first step is always that I pick one color that speaks to me in that moment, and then I prime the canvas just in that color to get into the flow and to really tune into the magic. And then you have to wait anyway until it's dry, and then you can have the conversation with blue, for example, and see what blue might be telling you, or what aspect of blue you either need in your life right now or you have to let go of. It goes in both ways. Yeah, and then and this is the harmony aspect for me in my paintings, that I choose the shape of the circle a lot. Because this is for me the most harmonious form, and it's so meditative to just paint a circle. And for example, when it's like a blue canvas like this one you see in the background, I prime it again in white before I add any other colors, so that every color has the full, or you have the full load of each color, the full intensity, because especially with darker colors, and I would consider this blue as a darker color, for example, it's sometimes tough to overpaint it with brighter colors. Yeah, but that's that's a bit nerdy maybe.
Well, I love it. I really truly love it, and I fully understand. And I really enjoyed getting an idea of how you start the process, which makes perfect sense because you do not have to think in the beginning. You just go for your color by intuition, and then you have something to do. Very meditative, just bringing that color to the canvas. And did I understand that correctly? After that, the entire color is painted white again? Like, or did I misunderstand that?
No, it's just when I paint a circle, like in this painting, for example, I draw the circle with a white
Hmm.
chalk pen, and then I prime the inner circle, so to say, again in white, so that the colors that come into the circle can be experienced in their full intensity in the end. But I don't do this always. I do this a lot, but not always. It always depends on the mood and the setting. Yeah, sometimes even on the music that I'm listening to, or the audiobook I'm listening to while I paint. So yeah, and to get back to that question, if you need any skills to start painting, and my answer is no. I always used to tell my students, especially when you work with acrylics, that even if you don't like the result, you can just paint over it again. I do this to my paintings too. There are some that have maybe 5 or 6 or even more layers, and they get overpainted until I get the signal or the information that they are done. And usually I experience this as a clear inner stop, stop it. Yeah.
Wow, I really truly love that. And there is one aspect that I want to point out here because some might think, wait a minute, when it's something that I don't like, it's still there when I paint it over. So you can have this aspect to it or perspective. From my point of view, it's an integration process as we have access to all the qualities that we have. We might not like all the qualities. I mean, every human quality is accessible to us, as every color and every shape is accessible and paintable. So when we paint something we don't like, it's to me it sounds as if it is making peace with the aspects that we carry within us and allowing us to have that on the canvas and seeing that the color can change, the painting can change. It can be the most beautiful painting containing something that we didn't like before. And that is so very interesting. I myself went through a phase where I would never put a painting on my wall where there was something under the layer that was visible that I didn't like. I would think the frequency that spoke from the underlying layer might contradict what is there. Yet that's something where I would speak of harmony again. When everything comes together in perfect harmony, everything is allowed. And we might judge something as something that we don't like, but we can just go for what we like. And in the end, there is a beautiful painting there. And if it's not beautiful yet, then maybe it's not the end yet. So I really love
Yeah.
it. And I also love that you know when your painting is complete. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you shared. I think it's also part of the duality that we live in. It's not only love and light, you know, there is also darkness. And um, to say that the darkness isn't there or that the darkness is evil is not fair. It's just equally there. And we also do not consist of just one layer. So why should our creations just have one layer?
Yes, completely agreed. Yeah. Wonderful. You have these wonderful circles, almost planet-like shapes, Earth-like shapes that you I don't know if every painting of yours, probably not, but most of your paintings contain these circles and planet-like shapes. So how did you get to there? What's the magic behind it or the story?
Well, this is a long story, actually, but I try to make it a bit shorter. Um, it all started back in 2012 when I was still a student, an art student at university. And we went to this excursion to southern France. It was a drawing excursion, and I was going through some things in my life at that time, and I was completely blocked. We had the task was to draw every day at least, I don't know, 5 drawings, and we had to get together every night, every evening, um, and show what we have drawn during the day to the professors. And there was quite a lot of pressure, and we were in this beautiful landscapes, lavender fields, everything beautiful, but we were not allowed basically to draw something beautiful because that's just the, yeah, I think it was the influence that the professors had, where they were coming from, their background, because there are some streams in the art world that do not think it's art when it doesn't trigger something in you. That's another story. Um, yeah, so we were not allowed to create beautiful things while being surrounded by only beauty. And I was completely blocked and uh, had a little fight one night with one of the professors. And I also have to say, I started drinking wine in the afternoon already because I didn't have any other coping mechanisms at that time. And I got a little bit mad and told him, "What is this? What are we doing here? Uh, I don't know. I don't like this. And he was like, yeah, okay, I see you. Um, and he said to me something very important. I remember this sentence up until today. He said, Carol, you are in a crisis, but the crisis can be very fruitful. Okay. I was like, what the heck? What the heck are we doing here? And the next day, I had a huge hangover and was sitting in this beautiful garden looking around, and I had my paper and my charcoal with me, and then I saw the stem of a tree that was cut off, and that was like had a really dark hole inside, and somehow I gravitated towards this dark black hole, and I finally released my blocks, I guess, because then I was really in the flow, like with the charcoal on the paper. It was a huge paper, and I was like putting all my emotions and my anger and everything into the drawing. And I was like, man, I love this black. And I think it was 3 drawings that I made from different perspectives. And um, yeah, that was the moment when I stopped caring about what was expected from me and what we had to do and what the actual task was. I was slightly obsessed with the charcoal and the black and holes. And when we came back to Germany to university, I I don't even know why, because even at university, I was told that I don't know how to paint and I would better have become a comic drawer or something like that. And it was not meant as a compliment by this professor who told me that. And for some reason, I bought a huge roll of canvas. And I was like, yeah, at some point I have to paint again. Otherwise, I won't be able to finish my studies. So I didn't give anything about what everyone was doing and thinking, and I just started to paint huge black holes on canvas. And that was the starting point. And this was something that I did for years to come. And the interesting thing was that I think a few months after this excursion, I had this first exam that we had to pass through to get to the main studies, to get access to the other courses. So I didn't have any expectations because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just knowing I have to do this. I can't do anything else right now. I need to paint these black holes and see what happens. And that's what I did. And I got the best mark that you could get. And I was like, what? And they even told me, yeah, because you had to pick a focus for the main studies. Then, like in the basic studies, you had to do everything, and then you had to pick like 1 or 2 focuses for the rest of your studies. And they even told me, yeah, we definitely see your strength in painting and in printing. That was something else I was doing. Um, and I was like, huh? What happened? I thought I should I should have become a comic drawer. What's up now?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I did that up until the end, until I graduated from university. Like my final exam was that I always took it to the next level, and I was really obsessed and curious. Okay, this is like I had 3 canvases of 3 per 3 meters in an exhibition. So there was this huge 9 meter per 3 meter wall that was just black, with 3 huge black circles on it. And that was already a high level, but then I was like, okay, how can I top that? What's the next level after this? So for the final exam, I requested to do a room installation, and I got a small room that was like a cellar room, with just a very small window, and there was just very little light coming into this room, depending on the weather also. And I just painted the entire room black. It was really one of the craziest things I have ever done. And there was one wall opposite of the window, and there I painted a black circle that was even blacker than the walls, but with a paint that was not matte. It was reflecting when light was coming onto it. I don't know how to describe this better. But yeah, but depending on the light that was coming into this room, um, when you entered the room, you didn't see anything. It was a little bit scary. It was like stepping into the unknown. And after a few seconds, your eyes would get used to the darkness. And then when you turn around, you would see this black sun appear on the wall and reflecting. And it would change depending on where you stand in the room. So that was my personal big bang that I left the university with.
Wow. Oh, that is so, so powerful. And the message that I receive, I mean, all in all, is that the moment you went for not caring for any other's opinion, but really just doing your thing, not even believing in what you were doing, just doing what you felt called to do, and not judging it in any way, just allowing it to come and be your expression instead of anything you wanted to create and to present to the world or to the professors. In that moment, everything changed, and you didn't even notice until the professors gave you a different viewpoint on your art, and all of a sudden saw the artist in you that you have always been, but you tried to adapt it to what you thought an artist should be like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a very good summary that you just made of this story. Yeah, yeah. And I think this is still my mission up until today to show people that they have just one life, and if you have something to say or something to express, you better do it now. And you better don't care about what others think about it. And I had obstacles in my way, like a long list of obstacles, big and small. And um, I had also moments where I wanted to give up, and where I even decided to quit on art because, of course, all the time I was told, yeah, art is just a hobby. It's just a hobby. You can't make money from art and stuff like that. So if you can't make money from it and the art can't pay for your life, why would you even do it? That was something that I was thinking at some point. So I went into many other directions, but it didn't work. At some point, I was either burned out or depressed or something else would happen that would just push me back into the arts, into painting. And it was in 2020 when the whole world was in the midst of a pandemic that I decided, okay, why, or when, if not now, could I rent a studio and at least give myself a chance to pursue my own creative interests? Because before that, I was working on a cruise ship where I did the painting classes and stuff like that. So it was already an art-related job, and I was officially the artist on board of the cruise ship. But there was no space for the artist. It was a little bit, it was a little bit fake, so to say, because yeah, you are the artist and you have this artist label, but please don't be an artist. Like
Wow.
there were so many rules.
Oh, yeah.
um, so I spend basically all my time to teach all kinds of creative expressions to the guests of the cruise ship, but there was no time, space, and energy left for my own creative expression. So when that stopped, thanks to the pandemic, I was like, well, okay, I don't know. If that makes sense, but I feel the call to get myself a studio because I didn't paint at home, especially with the huge paintings or the huge canvases that I love to work on. It's difficult to do this at home, and I have been desiring to have a room that is only dedicated to painting and creating. So, yeah, then I rented my first studio in the summer of 2020, and it was really exciting because I finally got my fire back. And it was quite bumpy in the beginning, because after years of not painting or just painting like beautiful sunsets at the sea or stuff that people on the cruise ship wanted to see, or I believed what they wanted to see, um, I didn't even know what my authentic creative expression was anymore. And I don't know, I think it took me at least a month or so until I picked up a paintbrush and dared to paint something and be brave enough to fail also, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was pretty lost at that time. And for the first time, I experienced this thing that I think many people experience with a blank canvas that stares at you and you stare back at it and like, what are we doing? Yeah. So yeah, but I knew I was done with black. So I think first I tried to do something with black again and I stopped. And now, right now in this moment, I remember that I even wrote a letter to my black circles that I have painted in the past. And I thanked them for everything they did for me and also said, yeah, it's time to let you go and to move on and enter a new chapter, maybe even a new book. It's interesting because when I tell you about my full circle alchemy process later, that's even more interesting. Yeah, but then I really set the conscious intention to invite other colors back into my palette because really for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years, I have only been painting with black. And there was a time when I even gave away or threw away all the other paints that I had that I was owning, so that there was just different kinds and intensities of black that I was possessing. Yeah.
And then you allowed the colors to come into your life.
Yes. And then I got obsessed with pink.
That's like the next best thing to black, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but that was the time when the for me, the pandemic was really one of the biggest blessings of my life because the world was standing still. Nobody had any expectations of me. So I felt finally safe to go and do what I was called to do, and that was painting and going to the studio and developing new techniques. Like, yeah, I was feeling like an investigator or even an alchemist in my painting lab, where I was just, yeah, trial and erroring my way from canvas to canvas and seeing what happens.
I
Yeah.
really love that. And that happened after you already discovered to be an artist. So I think that is something that is very valuable for everyone to remember, that even when we identify with something or feel to be great or really brilliant in anything, that it might be a curse because we don't allow ourselves to try new things because we already know what works. And when we do new things and it feels like a tablet, yeah, a toddler, some someone who has never painted before, it's really tough because our entire identity might get scratches. So
Maybe even crumble.
yes, yes. But it was safe for you since no one was watching, right?
Yeah, and at the same time, people were watching because my first studio, like now, I'm pretty isolated in my studio. I don't know any other artists here in this building. And that was also good for this season. But my first studio was actually in one of those old factory buildings that we have quite a few of in Leipzig. And it was just one floor, and there were like 12 studios on these on this floor, and they were all open. There were no doors. It was like little rooms in the room, but you could just walk into every of them, and you could see, like, when you enter the space, you would see the first artist doing his thing, and then you would go past the other ones and see what everyone was doing. And this space belongs to an artist residency, and the international artists couldn't come, of course. That's why they were subletting the studios to local artists, so that all all fell into place. Because also there, I experienced that in the beginning, I didn't feel like they were taking me seriously because I studied art and social sciences to become a teacher at school. So I didn't study on an art academy. And there is this thing going on in the art world where people who haven't studied at an academy are taken less serious, or maybe not even considered to be artists. So it was kind of like I had to prove myself and the artist that I am over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that was also an interesting it was interesting how this developed, because in the beginning they had never seen anything of what I did, of course. So I just told them, yeah, I want the biggest studio right there in the corner. I need this.
I love it.
And for the first 4 weeks, I wasn't doing anything. So everyone was like, who is she and what is she doing and who does she think she is? Probably even. And um, but when I got started, I got started. Like the same obsession that I had with black before, it came back in other colors and in all kinds of sizes. And um, it was supposed to be a limited time to rent the space for me, because the residency program, um, they picked it up again after a few months. So from the beginning, it was clear, okay, you can stay here 5 months, and then you have to go. And for me, it was like, okay, 5 months is good because I don't even know if I need a studio. So let's play around and find out. So after the time was almost over, and we also had like an open studio day, and yeah, also a beautiful community of isolated artists in isolation, but somehow together. They asked me to become one of the local artists who participate in the residency program. So suddenly I was from not even knowing if I am an actual artist. I was like, okay, usually you have to apply for residencies. And then they asked me to join their program and stay for 3 more months.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was also an initiation for me, because suddenly there were expectations again. And I was kind of, yeah, not pushed, but definitely asked to speak about my work, show my work, and explain what it's all about. And I was definitely not ready for this, because I was just playing around and not taking anything too seriously, and just like, wow, have you seen this shade of pink? I need to paint an entire canvas in this shade of pink. And then I had another shade of pink that was also amazing. And yeah, I was just gone in my own world. And yeah, maybe yeah,
And
that's
then
what.
came and wanted to explain and get explained everything, interpret everything, and coming with their minds, trying to pick.
Yeah, in the beginning it was like, okay, we don't know what you're doing, but we love it. So please, please come and stay a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's a key thing here, because oftentimes we ourselves do not allow us to play officially. So playing around, yes, every day, every moment. But when someone comes and asks us, what have you been doing all day long? Well, I worked. I
I worked.
nothing to do, right? Yes. So when we watch our vocabulary, at times we like to phrase things more seriously than we ourselves experience them or choose to experience life. So I love your playful choice of life. And I can just imagine how tough it would be to, I would say, stand up for that or even find out whether you want to stand up for it or want to try to package it into something different. I am painting this, and this is all the planets, and it's meant to represent this and that, while you were actually just playing and having fun, not taking things too seriously. So yeah, whoa. Did you get into a dilemma there, or was it easy for you to overcome the clash that kind of happened again?
Um, It was a beautiful experience to be there, and I'm very grateful that they invited me to be part of the residency program because that that just gave me so much because it was international artists again, and I just met the most incredible other artists, and what I saw there was also that even those who are already represented by a gallery, for example, which in my mind was always um, the best thing you could get to, like a gallery discovers you and sells your work, and all your problems were solved. That was what I thought, but I saw that even they had most of the time not really an idea about what they were doing. And everyone, really, everyone struggled to speak about their work, to explain what they are doing. And also, yeah, these insecurities that I think most artists have, everyone has them. And I also think everyone keeps them. They are coming, they are coming again and again. And that's when you have to make the choice of a playful approach again and again. And while it's, I think it's kind of cool for the ego to be represented by a gallery and have a gallery selling your work and exhibiting your work. But it I think it also puts a lot of pressure on you as an artist because once you're known for a certain style and people are probably buying that style from you, but when you feel, okay, this era or this season is complete and I know I need to do something different now, but I don't know what it is. And you start at zero again. But I don't know. I can imagine that it's hard to allow yourself to start from zero again when you have other people in the background who have expectations um, of you and your work and your creative output.
Wow. Very well
Yeah.
put. Yes. You shared that it's so much about emotions, and of course, it makes perfect sense that it's tough to speak about the own work and the own art. And even though it's a playful, fun thing to do, there are processes that are in those paintings that kind of, from my perspective, is the magic of all of this, because you can paint it instead of putting it into words. It can speak from the painting to those who are ready to receive, and it can speak different languages. It can speak different things to different people. So you kind of, I would say, interpreting your own work also always limits it to some yeah, amount, and it's more so very, it takes courage to do that, and to know what you really want to do and what you do not want to do. I mean, I don't know whether I mean, every artist, everyone who brings through things or brings down is like channeling information, vibration, all of that. It it is a different thing to bring it through than to explain it to the world, because you kind of do the job that others should be doing. And it's they are meant to receive through the painting, and then they say, I don't want to receive through the painting. I want you to
Mm.
explain me what I am supposed to receive. So that's one aspect. And on the other hand, I noticed you being open about speaking about the process, like speaking of the picture, maybe the one in your background. I think it might have been that one in blue. I don't know. But I saw a post that you posted on Instagram, which was not a simple post. It was a story that involved the I would say one deep message from a painting, and also shared deep stuff from your own life and struggles and transformation and integration. What would you say about all of that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you said it already that it should be the job of somebody else to speak about the work and also to sell the work and kind of bring it into the world. Um, but I don't know if I still believe that to be true because I think from my perspective and my experience and the knowledge that I have now, that um, this basically means to give your power away because you know your work. You maybe don't know how to put it into words, probably right after you created it or during creating it. But when you give it a little bit of time, it will all make sense. And for me, it was at some point just clear that it's a waste of time and energy to chase, for example, after galleries and beg them to represent me and asking them to give value to my work. That is my job. And if I don't value my work, um, others probably won't do that too. And so, yes, we are creating, and maybe our main job is to create our work, but um, at some point, you also I think you also have to show it to the world. And if there is no gallery or museum or whatever knocking on your door and asking you to showcase your work, you probably got to look what other opportunities are there. And we live in the year 2025, and we are more technologically advanced than ever before, and it's only evolving. So there is this huge social media world, for example, and people people are showcasing their work there and probably also make money from it. But this is someone, because it's still quite new, that not many people not many people teach, because in the traditional academical art world, I would say, it's still the way to go to wait for a gallery to be discovered. But maybe you have to wait until you're dead, and then even then you don't know. And at some point for me, I got to yeah, I was just so frustrated with all the other jobs that I had to take on to pay for my life and to be able to keep doing my art, and then not being able to do my art because I was so exhausted from the other things that I was doing all day every day, that I thought there must be a way to make money as an artist from my art. And I yeah, I really made that promise to myself that I won't give up before I found this way. And once I found this way, um, I will not hold back, and I will teach it to other artists as well, because it's a wild world out there. And I did so much trial and error with for example, posting my work on social media, and it's really hard to do it alone. And it's just since I hired different mentors or got into different mentorship spaces that I get an idea of what I'm doing. And when I look back, I wouldn't even say that you need someone to teach you how to make a good post, because all the things that they tried to teach me just didn't resonate and didn't work for me. And also, for me, it's not the point to sound like everyone else. um, so I, what I was really looking for, and I think I'm pretty sure that I am not the only one, is for someone to give me permission to do it my way, to be me, to let myself be enough, to let my art be enough, and to, yeah, get away from proving that I am an artist and my art is good enough, to, okay, how can I build a bridge from the painting that people just see on a little screen, as long as it's not displayed in a physical room, and translate or build that bridge from the painting to the person who is scrolling through, and how can I make them stop their scroll and read through the things I connect with the painting, or yeah, or yeah, somehow, I don't know. For me, it's I'm in this place of I don't know what I'm doing again with this whole content game, but I feel like it's finally working after I have tried everything and then ditched everything and went for, man, I just do what I want now. I just tell the truth about what it means to me, how I feel, how this painting has supported me, what was the situation in my life that I went through when I created this painting, and see if anyone resonates with it. And it's often, um, it takes a lot of courage for me to share these very, very personal stories, and it's edgy always. And I don't post just to post. I post with a lot of intention, and I curate the entire experience that someone, or that I would someone to have while going through my post. Like, I'm not here to add to the noise. I'm here to help people feel their feelings and see their power, and stop giving it away to other people or institutions or things they have been told, and instead connect with their heart and be honest with themselves, and yeah, also give them permission to let themselves be enough.
That is really gigantic. For me, I'm not often on Instagram, so I have an Instagram account and I was posting something there, and you showed up with one of your stories, and I exactly what you just shared happened. I stopped and I allowed this story to land, and I allowed myself that unfolding of the moment. And for me, that is art as well. You kind of communicating to someone, not in a direct way, but in an invitive way, saying, wait a minute, breathe, stop, allow us that space, and allow yourself this to be an experience and not just a picture, an image that runs through, and then the next comes, and the next comes, and you have kind of mastered the art of nourishing people even through this device with your art, and that is huge.
Thank you so much for saying that. It makes me almost emotional because it was really a long way, and this is exactly what I want to do, like nourish and open a space in this huge loud space where people stop and are like, wait, is this all true, or is my truth a different one?
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Your paintings all have titles, or some of them at least. Do you want to share more about that? When do they come? When do they get their names? Or is that something that happens automatically? What do you want to share about that?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I actually never really thought about it. Yeah, most of them have titles, but some of them just get their titles years after they have been painted, to be honest, because um, there are different seasons. There are seasons where I paint a lot and I'm obsessed with painting, and then there are moments like where I feel I want to share a story, and I usually always share my stories connected to at least one painting. And then I consider, or I contemplate, okay, which painting is a match to that story, and which painting probably carries the transformation of that story. And then I have to rethink, okay, what is the story and what is the message? And yeah, then okay, what is a title? Or how can I even squeeze a little bit more what the essence is and put this into just a few words that become the title of a painting?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, from what I am hearing, it is really not a starting point and an end of the painting, but it is something where you trust the process. You trust that everything falls into place, even if it's years later, or a layer gets added when you think it was already done, or whatever it is. So it's really a a path of trusting, isn't it?
Yes, and it's so messy. It's so messy, and it's also so hard sometimes because sometimes you're just in that void space where you have done the work and everything, but nothing happens. And how do you still trust in those moments? And those are really the moments where I personally connect back with my paintings and have them hanging on my wall in my studio and sitting in front of them and really getting back to them and feeling them. And yeah, let their medicine heal me.
I love that. Yes. And that shows that it's always more than what we are focused into. So whenever we allow art to flow and not just, I would say, limited creation to be constructed, then we really surrender to something bigger. And these are moments when you look at your paintings and allow them to nourish you back, or to inform you, or to give you answers. that's where it really shows, right? It's more than what you could have created from your wishing, wanting, and forcing things into place.
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning, it just started with, okay, I don't want to do annoying jobs anymore, and I need to find a way to make money from art. But little did I know that this would be a whole other initiation into something that is much bigger than than just the paintings and the price tag you put onto a painting or something like that.
Yes. I feel that you are a way shower with all that you do because you bridge the gap of the role of the artist and the role of the gallerist and the role of the spectator. You kind of are all of them. So you have an idea what it feels like for the one who is perceiving your art or the audience of it or uh, being nourished by it. You also have an idea how to translate it to others or to give access to deeper levels of what is transmitted without limiting it, so it's what I see. We are in a time where it is not separated anymore. Of course, this world still exists, but it's not what is up to date, I would say. So it's a curse and a blessing. Everyone can do art, everyone can post it everywhere, and it's free for everyone who wants to get seen. They just do stuff in order to, and everyone is in their own responsibility to connect and go deep and see whether it speaks to them, whether it is honest and something that nourishes them. And there is no judge like the gallerist anymore. There's no one who can say this is worthless and this is worthy, and you should have that painting in your living room, and this is you shouldn't have it there. Everyone can serve someone in what way ever, but you really choosing that path of being the gallerist of your own art, not in saying this is more worthy than others, but other paintings, but really in allowing people to get a deeper understanding of what that might give them, what frequencies might resonate with them. That feels really like a, a new paradigm that you yeah, bring in or strengthen or bridge into. I really love that. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you really so much because I felt so insecure, even or with everything, like how I showcase my art, because I don't see any other artists doing it the way I do it. And even my website, for example, it's not the typical website of an artist. I put so much more into it. Like I have some blog posts about several paintings. I'm not doing it all the time because that's also another job. But when I feel something in the form of words or a text come through, I don't question it anymore. I just put it out there. And for years, I have been putting things out there without seeing any reaction or any result or yeah. And so many times I ask myself, what am I even doing? Does it make sense? It doesn't make any sense. And um, now, years later, when I also understood that it's not about what you do, it's about what you embody and what feels safe to your nervous system and integrated um, somatic work and somatic practices into my everyday routines, and yeah, really approach the whole thing from a much more holistic perspective, that's when things start working and people reaching out, like you, for example. After reading this post, we haven't spoken in, I think, almost 4 years or something. And it really made me so happy to hear from you and to feel to feel it in my heart that what I posted from my heart spoke to yours. And that's really a much different game. And I think also that, yeah, being an artist doesn't stop when you cleaned your paintbrushes or um, put back your tools in whatever way, or when you're a musician, you put down your instrument. You can't turn it off.
That is
It's,
so true. Yes.
yeah. And we also, I think, we can't see the artist different from the art, and art and artists have been put on such high pedestals, though, that I think many people don't even dare to follow an interest if they have one or if they like something. And I probably would even consider myself as an activist who opens the door to everyone. You don't need a university degree to read and understand my posts. You just need to be a human and live a human life. And yeah, and we as artists are also human beings going through things. And I think this can only be inspiring to see someone, at least for me. I feel so inspired by people where I see, okay, they have had huge struggles, and then they didn't let that stop them, and they kept going and kept transforming and growing, and look at them now.
Right.
And
Yes, and
yeah,
so much more encouraging for everyone in their lives than to have someone be on the pedestal and not see that they lead a human life and don't even imagine them to have like a human side. So
yeah.
there is also a bridge that you build, yes.
Yeah, and for example, if a painting hangs on a wall of a gallery or a museum, there is only a very specific group of people who would even enter the room and who would get access to it. So yeah, I'm also messing a little bit with the agenda, and I like it.
That is wonderful. So, are there prints available of your paintings as well that might make it easier for some to put it in the size they want into the living room or whatever it is? Maybe even, I mean, it's always also a huge choice to invest into a painting or maybe start with a print of a painting. What is your take on that? And do you offer prints as well?
Yeah. Um, I offer prints. I have to refine my print selection a little bit because yeah, I'm not 100% happy with the frames that I offered. Yeah, but there is a selection of prints that I offer, and I want to increase this selection. But yeah, I definitely need an assistant at some point because it's also not so easy sometimes to translate the painting from the canvas onto the digital tool and, yeah, make it digital and printable, so to say. So it's in progress. You can already find prints, also the prints that are that I have created for my calendar that I made for this year. Um, they are also available as small framed prints
Oh, that is
already. Yes,
cool.
but I it's on my to-do list to
Something to play with.
refine it. Yeah, and what I also want to say now that we are speaking about accessibility is that I also offer payment plans. So if you desire to have an original painting, I offer PayPal payment plans, and you can choose up to 24 installments if you really desire to own an original piece, but don't have the resources right now to pay it in full. There are also other ways to get it.
Oh, I love that. That is so smart. I mean, it's great because the people get to have it in their living room and they already receive the vibration and they have fun each time they send you that love amount. I really love that. That is so cool. It connects you even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I know what it means to struggle financially. Seriously. I had seasons where all I was eating were lentils and oat flakes for weeks. So I I know what it's like. And um yeah, of course I also can't give my paintings away for free because I am also a
Why
human
should
being.
you? Why should
Yes.
you? I mean, the
Yeah.
fun is in when you really paid for something, it's so much more fun. When you
Yeah.
wow, and I really dedicated something to her as well. And yeah, so it's always about how do you feel about money, of course. So if people don't like money, then they might not like to give you money because they don't like what money feels like. But when we know how fun it can be to give something to someone and to have the value that comes with it, or it's as if you gift your painting, which is not countable in any money, or not put no one could limit your paintings or any art into any amount of money, but it is a way to have more fun and to feel more value when you have it there, and to be more and deeper connected. So it's to what you allowed yourself to have. It's a self-worth thing. And so I would I would not say that you can't give it away or you can do anything you want to, but it wouldn't feel right, right? So why should you? And why should you take away that, I would say, that fun from someone who really wants to feel the power of that painting? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just a different thing if you see the painting on a small little display, or if you are in the physical room with it. Like what I see here on my screen is a whole different ball game than what I see physically on my wall. So yeah, um
Would
I
you be able to come to your studio and get a physical presence express experience with your paintings before maybe deciding which one speaks best to them?
I'm definitely open to this, and I would love for people to come to my studio and experience the real paintings, the original paintings, because it's a different experience. And at some point, I also would love to do a show, but not right now. So if someone is interested in a painting and is here in Leipzig or around Leipzig or wants to travel to Leipzig, I'm I'm definitely open to show my works and also recommend a work, because I have some people already who said they would love to have a painting from me, but don't know which one. And I have already posted quite a few on social media, but I have so many more here in my studio that I haven't been able to post yet. And I had this really beautiful experience a few weeks ago where someone asked me about a small painting, and she didn't know which one. And I told her, I can suggest one for you, like I can tune into your energy. And I asked her a few questions about where she's at right now in her life, and if there is something specific that she would um, desire to be supported with through the painting. And then I suggested one to her, and it was just the perfect piece. And she was like, "These are my exact favorite colors. How did you know?" So, if anyone is curious or interested, I'm very open to suggest paintings and also to support not only with the decision but also with the process that um, the person might be going through. Yeah. And something else that I have coming up, brand new, so to say, that I will also offer as a service in the future, probably, is um, that I think I have to quickly explain my full circle alchemy process so that people can understand what I'm talking about. It's like maybe 2.5 years ago, I developed a process that I now call the full circle alchemy process. And um, basically, I wanted to get rid of a dynamic in my life back in the day. And so I went into the dynamic and thought about, okay, where is the origin of that story? And it ended up in writing a letter to a person that, from in my perspective, gave me the belief system that kept me trapped in this dynamic. And I burned that letter after I wrote it, with the intention to set myself free and to see it all going up in smoke and transformed and blown away by the wind. And I collected the ashes and took them upstairs with me into the studio, and didn't really know why. It was some sort of playing around again. And I had this idea of mixing them into a paint that I use for a painting. And that first painting that is painted with the ashes of that letter that set me free from some toxic relationship dynamics was the piece Rise with Me, which is now also like my motto or my brand message. And just a few days ago, someone reached out to me asking me if I could use the ashes of a letter that she has written and wants to burn for a painting, like a commission painting that I do for her that is very personal and very specific to her. And this is something that feels like the next level for me right now, because this is the real alchemy when you really go deep into the emotions and you feel it. I have cried liters of tears probably when I wrote that letter, and then when I put this I burned it in a salad bowl on the parking lot of the studio. So
That's cool.
um yeah, but when I saw it burning and going up in smoke, I was like, yeah, it's done and over, and I'm free now, and this is my life and my power, and I live my life the way I want it, and I'm not allowing anyone to stop me. And then in the next step, mixing it into the paint and pouring it onto the canvas is, yeah, some next level next level alchemy that I'm doing.
Oh, I really love that. And it's, as you said, so personal. So the one who receives that painting with something personal that they wrote and burned, or you took the ashes from it
Yeah.
and integrated it into the painting. That sounds like an integration process. And from what I feel, integration is what is needed for everything, especially for harmony. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the painting is not just a painting that you decorate your wall with, it's a monument to your own transformation.
Powerful. It is. Perfect. So anyone who feels called to have such a painting or to explore the options is invited to reach out to you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have my website, and there is a contact form either on the website, but also my email address and other options to contact me are all on the website.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you want to conclude with any painting or a story you wrote about a painting, or any any painting that is close to your heart at that, or that comes up in that moment that you want to showcase for us?
Maybe we'll see if I can turn this without becoming too shaky. Yeah, the one that you see up here, it's called Closure. And I have also written an emotional story about this maybe 3 weeks ago that I also posted on Instagram. But this one, for example, for me is, yeah, really bringing things to an end that don't serve me anymore, but not with resentment, but also with the excitement of starting a new chapter. And yeah, like being true to yourself. Like, I don't know if you can see it properly, but within the circle, there is more clarity, and outside of the circle, it's more blurry. And yeah, this is just something that I keep returning to when I'm about to lose to lose track, or to fall off the path that I'm on. I think the story that I shared with this one was that I almost signed up for a coaching certification, and then I didn't, because I don't want to be a coach in the first place. I am an artist, and it felt like I was just distracting myself again, because this is something that I subconsciously like to do. um, because I'm still dealing with this. Yeah, is it really enough to be an artist? Is my art enough? And I'm always looking left and right. to see what I can do. And yeah, I refer to this painting that really helped me to come back to myself and to what's actually true for me. And yeah, to stick with what's true for me and give myself time and give also the world time to catch up with me and with who I am becoming. And yeah, instead of starting something different that would probably distract me from my original path and my original mission, I would just deepen the practices that reconnect me with myself and that make me feel more powerful and yeah, not giving it away. Fun fact is that last week I signed up for this coaching certification anyway, but from a totally different frequency because it's it's a quantum somatic coaching certification, and I really desire to do this work for myself and to include the practices also in my creative process. So I'm not saying that I will never be a coach and never use that certification to offer actual coaching, but I think it's more in yeah, more integrated into the process of painting and maybe also supporting the people who buy my paintings in their processes and being able to facilitate not only not only the painting but also give them tools that have helped me to stay on track with myself.
Wow. Yes. And even though the result is quite similar, like before and after, before you wanted to sign up, you didn't do that. And the painting reminded you of your path and your truth and your power. And afterwards, coming full circle, you landed there and you went for it. You went for it from a place of, I would say, abundance, having the inspiration to take that class for yourself, that course, and not from a place of lack, where you might have felt, if I don't have that certification or whatever it is, then I might not be able to make a living or whatever it is. So that is really great. I love it. It's not about what specifically happens in your life, but it's about the frequency. And that's what paintings transmit, what these paintings transmit as portals, you could say, and really touch you somewhere deep within and strengthen certain frequencies that are aligned to your soul, to your unique beingness. I really love that. Yes. Wow, thank you for sharing. What would you like to part with? Is there anything you would want to encourage everyone to, any words to everyone who listens and have listened up until now?
Well, don't give up. Whatever you're doing, don't give up. Keep going, keep refining. If there is something that keeps calling you, follow that call. And even if it doesn't work out from day one, um, the moment we are calling in something new, we are also called up to rise um, to that frequency of the person who has what you want. And this is the real journey. And yeah, yeah, I think the most important thing for me is just to, yeah, don't let anyone talk you out of what your heart deeply desires and what your soul desires. And if no path is fitting for you, you're probably meant to create your own.
So good. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed our conversation. And it was a real true nourishment also to sit in front of the pictures, even if it was not in the room. But thank you so much for all you do, for all your presence, and for having that wonderful conversation with me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And maybe next time you come here and sit in the physical room, you are warmly invited.